Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I have the cutest little project. I'm working on a journal of stitchery, and I wanted to have a little needle book because I kept losing them. And when you poke yourself in bed with not only one but two, it's really not cool. So I made this cute little needle book, and it is a mixture of heavier kind of mat board and fabric, and I put a little snap on it, and I did the little owl. He is stamped and colored with alcohol inks and Mod Podge, not Mod Podge, Mod Podge. He is collage media covered, and then I've got a little mushroom stamp sticker behind him, but I've made it so that it has the 2 pages basically folded over sheet of fabric to put all your little needles in. And this is actually not attached to the cover. It is stitched in to the Sari silk with just a really big running stitch, just a couple stitches, and then tied around, held in place that way, so in case I ever need to replace these little fabric pages in here, it's very easy to do so. You can even keep the little Sari silk, just snip the little knot in there and pull the thread out. And then I made this, and to show you that you not only need to make it a needle book, you can turn it into a cute little paper actual journal. And this is a work in progress, so I'll just show you really quick here what I did. This is a jeans style button on there, and then just flip it open, and it's the Sari silk is made it kind of like a traveler's notebook where you can slide the pages in and out and change them for ease of decorating or writing in. And that's how you can also use it as a regular writing journal, just by using papers with it instead of fabric. So you can use it as a cute little grocery list notebook. You can, instead of taking up all the memory on your phone with little lists of everything, you can use it for a really cute little recipe book that you can send out as happy mail for people, anything like that. And its initial die is actually one of my favorite Sizzix creators. Her name is Eileen, and she made this scoreboards die. It's a thicker one, so you'll need a machine like a Big Shot or something that can take the thicker die plates. But this one is actually called Needlebook. I'm not sure if it can focus that well there, but the number is 660767. And I did purchase this at Marco's Paper, and I will link them down below. I purchased most of my craft supplies through them. So I also have, it is not an affiliate link or code, but if you go online to order in the comments section, or if you call the store, either the retail store or the mail order site, and you tell them the code Moonfire15, MOONFIRE, and the numbers 15, and they will give you 15% off your regularly priced purchase. That does not include things like glass mats, Altenew, And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, and Copics. It doesn't include Copics. But if you do order Sizzix things, even on the machines, I did get my little fold-away machine from there. And you'll see me use this with the die in a little bit. But they are really good. They do international shipping. So the link and the code will be down below. Again, I'm not affiliated, so I don't get a commission from it, and even if I did, it wouldn't affect you, but I do not. So first of all, what I did for this one, and on here, it is the exterior, which is this, and then the little attachment right here. And it does put the hole in there so that you can place a snap. And if you don't want the hole, like if you just want to use a piece of Velcro or something, you can always put a button over top of it as a decoration to hide the hole and then have your Velcro underneath. Or you can cut one and then just trace it and do your score lines for a different piece. It's up to you. I have, this is the mat board that I used. It is a Sizzix product. Also I got from Marco's Paper. But it's flexible, but it's really strong. I don't remember how thick it is, but it's what I used in here. So it's flexible yet strong and sturdy. And what I did for this is I just cut two separate pieces versus one piece to fit the whole thing, because I am backing both sides of the board with fabric. So I'm actually going to do this two separate times instead of one time all the way through. So I cut one piece for the exterior, and then what I'm going to do is, these are the fabrics that I chose, and these are actually Cricut fabrics. I don't remember which set they were from, or even if they're still available, so I apologize for that, but they are from Cricut. Cut these, and this is going to be my outside, and this is going to be my inside. Or do I want that to be my inside? Nope, I want that to be my inside, and then this is going to be the back side of the wraparound piece here. Or the front. Actually, I'm going to make that the front side because I think I like that better. So, little piece, big piece, big piece. Okay. So what I did was, and I made this as simple as possible for myself, because I don't really like to measure, especially when there's a die involved that I'm using, because the die means I don't actually have to measure. So all I did was I took the piece that I cut to go over the cover, and I'm going to pick which side I want, which area I want for the cover. And I really like this detail here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay this, and that some of the outside will get cut away, and that's okay. I think you are left with like this much outside from this piece. So if you wanted to cut it a little bit closer than what I did, you can, but that just means you have to line it up all the more carefully with the cut lines. So I'm just going to line this up. I am going to use a ruler and a rotary blade just because I like it better for cutting fabrics. You can just as easily make a line, cut it with your scissors, use a craft knife, whatever you're comfortable with cutting fabric. So there is one side, and then I will cut these pieces the same way. And remember, this little piece is for the tab, so figure out if you want it to match or if you want it to contrast. So I will cut these pieces the same way, and I will be right back. Okay, so what I decided, because this is a strong pattern and this is a busy pattern, I decided to keep the closure simple with the coordinating solid color pattern. And this is actually going to be the fabric that's going to hold my needles on the inside. So what I'm going to do is, and you can adhere these many different ways. You can use spray adhesive and spray both sides and stick them together. You can use the double-sided pages for the red liner tape and stick them together. You can use Fabri-Tac and stick them together. Use your choice of glue that you like to use. The Sizzix glue works phenomenal. I'm just out of it right now, and if you put it on, make sure you take like a broad paintbrush and put a whole bunch on and brush it out to the edges of what you're sticking your fabric to. Not to the fabric, because it's a lot harder that way. But if you use even like a tacky glue or any these types of glues, put a bunch on. I don't recommend watering it down because then it will buckle things. But if you do use it, or a PVA glue, even anything like that, put a bunch on and brush it out to the edges so that everything is covered, kind of like a collage. And then place your fabric over top and smooth it from the center out to keep it flat. And then if you use a lot of the wet glue like that, put a heavy book or something on top of it. Stick it under your mats. Put your machine on top of that. Anything like that to keep it down and from getting air bubbles in it. What I am going to actually do is I'm going to run these through my Xyron machine because it is strong enough to keep the fabric in place, but if I accidentally put it in the wrong place, I can very carefully peel it up and maneuver it and then burnish it permanent. So I'm going to do that, and then I don't have to worry about glue squeegeeing out. I am, however, going to iron this crease out. So that might take me a moment, but I am going to do that so that everything lays flat, and again, there's no air bubbles in it. And that is exactly the same way that I adhered this, and you can see nothing is fraying, nothing is coming off. So I'm quite happy with that. And I will be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I wanted you to see how I did this with it being double-sided. And this is my little iron that I use. It's not very expensive. It works really nicely as a craft iron as well as a fabrics iron. So if you don't have a lot of space or a big budget, you can get something similar to it. It does have the little steam holes, which if you use a craft iron, I do not recommend putting water in your craft iron. However, this one only has 4 little holes, so it's not too bad if you need to use steam still for things like fabrics and such. So it's easy to clean out and keep them drier than you would if it was full of holes. And then you don't have to have a big ironing board or even a mini ironing board if you don't have the space, but I do recommend if you get an ironing pad to get one at least 12 inches. That way you can have space for larger fabrics, or if you need to dry your tea dyed or coffee stained papers really quickly, you can still use that on there and there's enough space for it, yet it's still compact. You can tuck it in someplace. So I ran the board through the Xyron machine, and I'm just using a scraper to press it down to make sure everything got adhered well, and just to go around the edges. Since they're straight, this is very easy to do, or you can use your fingernail or just take a pencil and trace around it, or you can use a bone folder or the back of a butter knife and just make sure that all the adhesive is stuck properly. And since we're doing double-sided, we go ahead and peel it. And then I put it face down and then peel away from the paper. Like so. It keeps this from curling and also from you getting a bunch of fingerprints and lifting up the adhesive from it. So you're going to take one of your pieces of fabric and place it completely. Make sure you're right side up if you have a pattern. Place it completely over top so that you make sure you're covering everything. Just lay it on, and then from the center, press out in a smooth motion. You can even take your scraper and go over top of it. And also, if you go a little bit askew, like there's a little bit of white showing there, they're cut a little bit bigger than the die area. I don't know if you can see where the cut lines are on here. There's one there and one there. So that way you waste a little bit, but not a lot, and this way you're ensured that everything's cut on there that needs to be, and covered that needs to be. Okay, so we take one piece, make sure there's no strands behind there. You can trim these off now or later, it doesn't matter when. Just make sure you trim them off away from the adhesive. And just like with the small piece, put it directly over top. Try to get it as where no white, you don't want to be like this or anything like that, so no white showing. And just pull it taut. Don't pull tightly because you'll stretch it, but just enough to make it go flat, and then place it over top, and then from the center out, and you want to go from both directions. You really don't want to go diagonal with the fabric or push against the fabric, because then you'll pull it and make the fibers go askew. So we're just going to go like this, and if you want to, you can flip it over and go from the back side. Okay, and then you can trim it down a little bit if you want to. Just get those little extra fibery bits off, because what you're going to do now is run it back through. If you're doing it through the Xyron, you're going to run it back through the Xyron. If you're doing spray, you're just going to spray or do whatever you did for the other side onto this side. So I'll go run those through and be right back. Okay, back again. I am going to use my little Big Shot fold away. Very simple to use in case you don't have one or haven't ever used one. This one is a smaller portable unit. As you can see, the little flaps come out on the sides, and they just push in to lock. A little hard to do this way because I can't quite see. The handle also has this little button that you push in, and it makes it tuck in so that it's not sticking out to get on anything or flopping all around. It's got a really nice handle. It has a rather hefty footprint, so it does not move. And then you also have storage. This locks in place too, so you don't have to worry about that moving. Underneath both of your little wings here, you lift up, and there's a little compartment you can put little dye cleaning tools or pokey tools and such in, so it's really, really handy. And that just snaps down closed like so. Okay, the sandwich is very easy, and when I say sandwich, I mean the plates that you use to create your die cut sandwich are very simple. You just need 2 of the clear plastic cutting plates. One I always have not cut on to put underneath things so that I don't get a whole bunch of impressions and whatnot in my paper. And then this one is the one I use to cut on. When this one gets all mangled up, I switch it out with this one and then put a brand new one underneath. So it's very simple. You have one plastic cutting plate, your die with the non-cutting side down, then you'll position your paper, or in this case mat board and fabric, what you want to cut over top. And like I said, I'm not filling up the whole die because I don't want both of these pieces to be the same. If you did, then just make this piece the same size as the die base. So what I'm going to do here, make sure I don't have any fibers stuck in there. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just how I am. So I'm going to line this up over where I want to cut. And then you put your cutting plate on. Now, the easy way to not make these bow so quickly or banana is every time you do a cut, or every couple times, just flip it over. If you forget and you start to curve, just turn your die sideways and see if there's a curvature to it and put it the opposite way. So if I'm curving this way, instead of putting that side up, I put that side down. And then it kind of pressures it out and will help to straighten it. You might have to do it a couple times, but it'll help. So I just do that and move this back so you can see. Just push it in, turn the crank. I put my hand on the handle so I don't, you know, stuff my fingers in there. Even if you do, there's enough clearance. So and then, because it's fabric, there may be a thread or two that wants to hold on, and that's fine and normal. You just snip it. However, if you have a very intricate die and you want to cut fabric with it, by intricate, it has a huge amount of holes in it where there's a lot of detail. There is a metal cutting mat that you can use. Now when you use your metal shim, is what it will be most likely called, it does not go below your die. It does not go below your cutting plate. It goes on the opposite side of what you're cutting. So if you have a very intricate die and you want to, even if you want to cut thicker paper and or fabric, you would place your die cutting side up, place your material, then place your metal shim, then place your clear cutting mat. And what that does is, yes, you will cut into your metal shim, but that's what it's designed for. It's a consumable. It creates the metal, there's metal in here, the metal to metal properties similar to scissors that allow them to create a sharper edge to go through your material. So there's my lecture part of the day for that. So there's the outside part. Now on the fabric, you will not be able to see very clearly, but there are 3 score lines that are partially cut in here. With these specific dies, with the scoreboards dies, they partially cut, partially score. So where this is bent, there is actually a partial cut line. So it's much easier to bend your material so that it doesn't have rough edges or break or have those weird creasy, jubbly, ugly looking pieces on there. And you can actually see on this one quite well because of the black fabric. So that is the wraparound part. And you don't even have to use the closure part if you don't want to. If you want to make it a big crease, it can be just a simple little pocket notebook. So there's that part. And then I'm going to do the little closure that I do want. So I'm just going to put that over top of that and run it through the same way. And if you feel like, or you don't have a metal shim, if you feel like it didn't go through completely, if you can't tell, just pause and roll it back the other direction. And then there's that. And then this part also has little score cuts on it so that it will bend easier. And if you don't want to make them all bend, you don't have to. You can just bend the one in the middle and the other two will stay fine. If you are worried about the ends fraying, which like I said, and I've used this one for quite a few days now, and I've been not gentle with it. So if you are concerned about your edges fraying, if you used a fabric, you can just take some glue, some fabric glue is what I would recommend, or a nice tacky glue, and just put some on your finger and then rub it along the edge, and that will help it to seal itself up. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to put a snap on this one. I'm going to put a Velcro piece with a button on the top because I think that'll look really pretty, because this is going to be for a gift. And I don't know how she is with opening and closing snaps. So I'm going to find a button and get some Velcro. Be right back. I have cut a little rectangle of hook and loop tape, and I just get it in a box on a roll. So I will just glue one part on the back of this, and I'm going to make it the rough part so that if you want to open this flat, it won't get stuck to whatever you're putting it on. And then if you need to, you can just tuck this part inside so it doesn't get hooked on anything. And I'm just using some Fabri-Tac Power Fuse. And I'm just going to put a bunch on here. Just put some blobbies on. I'm just going to centralize it pretty much over the hole. And if you want to, you can take a little clip or something and put it on there so that it doesn't move. It only takes a little bit. And then while that dries, I'm going to put that there so I can see it. And I got out a few of my vintage buttons to see which one I like best with it. Nope. Ooh, that's kind of cool. That matches really, really well. And I don't know if you can see or not, but there's some etching detail in there. Kind of cool. That one works really well. That one's pretty. I still like that one better. Let's see. Nope. Well, that's cool. This one has like a burst etched in lines pattern there. So that's kind of cool. This metal one's really neat. It's got a little spot, couple spots of green patina on it. That's cool. Kind of like that too. Okay, that's gonna be a no. This one is a pearly. That's pretty too. Nope. Ooh, there's a black cloth covered one. That's really nice, like a satiny, shiny one. That's cool too. Oh, here's a pearl one. Oh, that's really cute. It has a little indentation in the middle there. Pretty neat. Green, nope. That one's kind of cool too. This one has like a variegated top part to it. When in doubt, it's second opinion time. Hey honey, I need a second opinion on which button to use. I've narrowed it down to 3. He's really good at this. I've narrowed it down to these 3, and it's going to sit on top of this peach color. So there's that one, and then that one.
That one.
The black satin color covered one. Okay. Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
Yay! So the hubby's picked out the beautiful black satin covered button. Really pretty. And this is dry now. So I am going to use, the Power Fuse works really well, but what I like to use for things of this nature is the Loctite Stick and Seal Extreme Conditions. It works, it's extra powerful for if you're going to be using it for closures and metal things like that. So I just put a dollop on and smoosh it in. Okay, and as we're waiting for that to dry, I'm going to make the interior pages here. And I like the traditional way of where it's just folded on the bottom, and I can't remember why it's like this. I don't know. If anybody knows, leave me a comment please, because I would like to know. But the way I do it is if I have anything that has a strand in it, I put that on the inside so I can tuck in my thread and it stays in there. But I'm going to do it like that, and I'm going to use the solid fabric because that way I can see when I stick my pins or needles in it easier. They don't get lost inside a pattern or anything. And I just measure the interior of where I want it to go, and I want it just inside the narrowest part, which is about 4.5 inches and 3.5 inches tall. And again, because okay, and I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to fold it this way so that I use less waste, and I am going to fold it. There's one. I'm going to start on this line so you can see. Yep. Okay. So there's 1, 2, 3.5 inches. And because I don't want to chop off this whole row, I'm going to come over 4.5. Make sure it's lined up. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Line up my ruler. Okay, so this is all pressed. I still have some little stragglies, and I'm just going to snip those off. If you want to, you can do some pinking on the edges with pinking shears. You can run the glue along them. I actually think that I might have enough space to do some pinking. In case you don't know, these are the pinking shears that have the triangled edges on them. They help to keep the ends of the fabrics from unraveling. I don't want to take too much fabric away, but I think it would look really nice in here. So that's what I'm going to do. That like that. And that goes over. And this is nice and dry now. So for this, I'm actually going to attach this to the back. I'm just lining the point up to the edge of that last score cut. Make it straight in the center. And for a little extra added adhesion, I'm just going to put some quilting clips on so that it gets in there nicely so I don't have to hold it. And while that's drying, I am going to find a piece of Sari silk or ribbon to go around here and some coordinating thread. Be right back. Okay, I am back with some black washi, and all I'm going to do is, I can take these off now. Oops. all I'm going to do is find about the middle, put it about the middle, and I'm just doing a quilter's knot. Okay, and about there. You can, of course, hide the knot if you want to. I think it adds neat vintage shabby character. So, and I'm just putting it right into the fold. And if you want to keep that in place how you want, you can add a safety pin, a straight pin, quilting clip, a paper clip will work also. And then I'm just going to make a couple stitches, and they're going to be fairly long. Like I said, it's just to tack it in place in case it ever needs to be replaced. And I'm keeping my knots on the same side, so I'm making sure that I come up to knot it. And to secure it, I am doing a French knot. Okay. And that will keep it in place, and then I'm just doing an embroidery tie-off knot in the back. Put this on, I just match it up to the hook side, stick it to it, put some glue on it, keep in mind that this bends, and wherever you want it to stop bending is where you're going to stick it. I'm just lining mine up with the last of the 3 folds. I'm just putting a clip so I don't accidentally move it. And then you can take your insert, put it in the middle, flip it over, And then you can just tie a bow or whatever type of knot you like. I just make sure that it's easy to get off in case it needs changed out. Okay, and you can leave tails on. You can decorate it with beading if you like. You can trim it short. You can not have a bow at all, however you choose. There we go. All set. So I am super pleased with how this turned out. I think it is so cute. And she can just fill it up with the needles that she chooses. And then if she wants to decorate the outside, very easily done. I think this is just the cutest project ever. And like I said, you don't have to use it just for a needle book. It makes a really cute pocket book, miniature junk journal, so anything and everything. It's adorable for stocking stuffers. I really like the recipe book idea. I think I might do that come next Christmas. So I hope I've given you some inspiration today, and visit the shop at moonfirestudios.shop to see what we have new and upcoming. And there's a lot of things on sale. The giant Valentine Book of Love is on sale for Valentine's Day. So I would appreciate and love everyone who would subscribe, like, comment, share my videos, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!